Today, we are talking about ordering food at a restaurant in English. And by the end, you will know how to enter a restaurant, ask for a table, order food, solve small problems, and pay with confidence.
This is useful when you travel, meet friends, go on a date, or simply want to enjoy a meal without freezing when the waiter asks you a question.
Before we go into the details, let's look at a simple visual map of the restaurant experience, because it helps you see the whole journey.
As you look at the image, notice that ordering is not one big scary moment. It is a few small steps that you can learn one by one.
In panel 1, the important idea is the first contact. You arrive, smile, and say what you need. That already removes a lot of stress.
And in the second panel, we see the rest of the story, choosing, ordering, and paying. Stay with us, because each part becomes much easier with the right phrases.
Key point. Start politely by asking for a table and giving basic details.
The first minute in a restaurant is all about being clear and friendly. You do not need perfect grammar. You need a polite opening and the number of people.
Exactly. If you can say whether you have a reservation, how many people are with you, and where you prefer to sit, the beginning feels smooth.
Let's look at the first structure. It is short, polite, and perfect when you do not have a reservation. Hello. Do you have a table for two?
After that structure, you only change the number, a table for 1, for 3, or for 4. Now, let's look at a second structure for the moment when you already booked a table.
We have a reservation under Garcia. The key part is under plus the name. It means the reservation is connected to that surname or first name. Let's hear example 1. Listen for a polite way to ask for a place, not demand it. Could we sit outside, please?
In example 1, could we make the request softer? You can replace outside with by the window or near the door. Now, example 2 gives you another useful option when you want a specific area in the restaurant.
Do you have a table near the window? In example 2, the phrase, do you have, is very flexible. It works for tables, menus, and even high chairs for children. For example 3, focus on a very common way to say the size of your group. There are 4 of us.
In the third example, of us sounds natural because you are speaking about your group. It is easier than building a long sentence.
Key point. Use the menu to ask simple questions before you order.
Once you are seated, the menu becomes your best friend. You can point, ask, and check details without needing complicated language.
And asking questions is not a problem for the waiter. It is normal, especially if you want to know about ingredients, spice, or portion size.
Let's review a short list of question starters. These are little tools you can use with many menu items.
As the list appears, imagine adding the name of a dish after each starter, like the soup, the burger, or the pasta.
What is in this dish? Is it spicy? How big is the portion? What do you recommend?
Item 1. What is in this dish is great when the name is unclear. Item 2. Is it spicy? Protects you from a surprise.
Item 3 helps if you are very hungry. And item 4 is perfect when you trust the restaurant and want a local suggestion.
Now, Let's listen to a quick simulated conversation. Notice how Sophie asks about a dish without sounding nervous.
Also, listen to Jack's answer. He gives useful information, and Sophie uses that information to make a choice.
Excuse me, what is in the vegetable curry? It has potatoes, carrots, peas, and a mild coconut sauce. Great. Is it very spicy? No, it is quite mild, but we can make it hotter if you like.
Sophie starts with, "Excuse me," which is a gentle way to get attention. Then she asks exactly what she needs to know.
And Jack's answer is realistic. He explains the ingredients and offers an option. This is why simple questions are powerful.
Key point. Order food and drinks clearly with polite fixed phrases.
When it is time to order, clarity is more important than creativity. A few fixed phrases can carry almost the whole interaction.
Yes. And the best part is that you can use the same pattern for a salad, a steak, a coffee, or a glass of water.
Let's look at a classic structure. It sounds polite and confident, without being too formal.
I would like the chicken salad, please.
The useful part is, I would like. In spoken English, it often sounds like, I'd like, but both versions are correct. Now, let's check a second structure, common in casual restaurants and cafes.
Can I get a sparkling water, please? Can I get is friendly and very common. Add please at the end, and your order immediately sounds warmer. Example 1 gives you another natural way to order, especially when you have already decided.
I'll have the pasta with tomato sauce.
In example 1, I'll have is direct but still polite. It is very useful when the waiter asks, "What would you like?" Now, example 2 is useful when you want to organize your meal into courses.
Could I have the soup as a starter?
In example 2, as a starter tells the waiter when you want the soup. You can later say as a main for the main course. Example 3 adds something extra to the order, which happens all the time in real restaurants.
Can we also get some tap water for the table?
In the third example, also tells the waiter, this is an addition. For the table means everyone can share it.
Let's hear a short order in context. Pay attention to the order of information. Drink first, then food.
Also notice that Sophie does not use many words. She is polite, but she keeps the order easy to understand.
Are you ready to order? Yes. Can I get a lemonade, please? Of course. And for your main course? I'll have the grilled fish with rice.
The waiter asks a very common question. Are you ready to order? If you are ready, you can answer yes and begin directly.
Sophie orders the lemonade first and the fish second. That clear sequence makes the conversation calm for both customer and waiter.
Key point. Make special requests by saying what you need in a calm way.
Restaurants are used to special requests. The goal is not to apologize too much, but to explain your need clearly and politely.
This includes allergies, food you avoid, cooking preferences, or asking for a sauce on the side. Simple language is enough.
Let's review a practical list of request phrases. These are short, but they can prevent many problems.
As you hear the list, Think about your real habits, what you cannot eat, what you prefer, and what you often ask for.
I am allergic to nuts. Can I have it without onions? Could I have the sauce on the side? Is there a vegetarian option? Could you make it less spicy?
Item 1 is important for safety, so say it clearly. Item 2, without onions, is a simple way to remove an ingredient.
Item 3, on the side, is very common for sauces. Item 4 and Item 5 help you adjust the dish without sounding difficult.
Example 1 shows how to ask for a small change in the dish before it is prepared.
Could you make it without cheese?
In example 1, without cheese is the key information. You can replace cheese with bacon, cream, or any ingredient. Example 2 is more serious because it is about health. Clear words are better than vague words here.
I cannot eat gluten. Is this dish safe for me?
In example 2, safe for me is direct and useful. It tells the waiter that this is not just a personal preference. Example 3 is perfect for salads and sauces. Listen for the phrase that means separate, not mixed in.
Can I have the dressing on the side?
In the third example, on the side is the magic phrase. It gives you control without changing the whole dish.
Let's use a picture to compare 3 kinds of requests. Look at each panel as a different restaurant moment.
This visual is useful because the language changes a little, depending on whether the request is about health, taste, or service.
In panel 1, the allergy situation needs very clear language. In panel 2, the separate cup shows on the side perfectly.
And in the third panel, the pepper reminds us of spice level. You can simply say, "Could you make it less spicy?"
Key point. Handle restaurant problems politely and ask for a solution.
Problems can happen. The food is cold, the order is wrong, or something is missing. The trick is to be polite but clear.
You do not need to sound angry. A calm sentence plus a direct request usually solves the problem faster.
Let's listen to a problem conversation. Notice how Sophie starts softly before explaining what is wrong.
Also notice Jack's response. In many restaurants, the waiter will apologize and offer to fix it.
Excuse me, I think this is not what I ordered. I'm sorry about that. What did you order? I ordered the chicken salad, but this is the tuna salad. Of course, I'll bring the correct salad right away.
Sophie says, "I think," which makes the correction softer. She is clear, but she doesn't accuse the waiter.
Then she gives the facts. Chicken salad, tuna salad. That contrast helps Jack understand the mistake and fix it quickly.
Example 1 is for temperature. Listen to how a little makes the sentence sound less aggressive.
Sorry, my food is a little cold.
In example 1, a little cold is polite but clear. If it is really cold, you can still say it calmly. Example 2 is not a complaint, but it is a common small problem at the table.
Could we have another fork, please?
In example 2, another fork is the missing item. You can use the same sentence for a napkin, a spoon, or a glass. Example 3 is for the end of the meal, when the problem is not the food, but the payment.
There is a mistake on the bill.
In the third example, mistake is neutral. You are not blaming anyone. You are asking them to check the bill.
Let's finish this section with a list of polite problem openers. These help you begin without sounding rude.
After each opener, you can add the problem. The food is cold, the order is wrong, or the bill has an error.
Sorry, could you check this? I think there is a small problem. Could you help us with this?
Item 1. Could you check this? Is useful when you can point to the plate or the bill. It is simple and calm.
Item 2 says there is a small problem, and item 3 asks for help. Both make the waiter your partner, not your enemy.
Key point. Ask for dessert, the bill, and payment options naturally.
The end of the meal has its own little routine. You may want coffee, dessert, the bill, or a way to split the payment.
This part is easier when you know the standard questions. Then you do not wait awkwardly or wave at the waiter for 5 minutes.
Let's look at the dessert structure first. It is perfect when you are not ready to leave yet.
Could we see the dessert menu, please?
Could we see is polite and natural. You can also use it for the wine list or the lunch menu. Now let's look at the bill structure. In some places, people say check instead of bill.
Could we have the bill, please?
Bill is common in British English, and check is common in American English. Both are understood in many restaurants. Let's review a short payment list. These phrases are useful when you are with friends or when you want to pay by card.
Listen especially for split and by card. Those two ideas appear a lot at the end of a meal.
Can we pay by card? Can we split the bill? Can I pay for these 2 items separately? Is service included?
Item 1. Pay by card is direct and practical. Item 2. Split the bill is the phrase you need with a group.
Item 3 is more specific because you pay for only some things. Item 4, service included, helps you understand tipping.
Now, let's hear the end of a meal. Notice how Sophie asks for the bill and then checks the payment method.
This conversation is short, but it is exactly the kind of exchange you hear in real restaurants every day.
Could we have the bill, please? Of course. Would you like to pay together or separately? Separately, please. Can I pay by card? Yes. I'll bring the card machine.
The waiter offers together or separately, so Sophie only needs to choose. Then she checks if card payment is possible.
Card machine is another useful phrase. If you hear it, you know the waiter is bringing the device for payment.
Key point. Practice the full restaurant flow and leave with confidence.
Now we put the pieces together. You have the entrance, the menu questions, the order, the special request, and the bill.
If you remember the flow, you do not need to memorize every possible sentence. You only need a phrase for each moment.
Let's listen to one final mini conversation that moves through the whole experience quickly. Try to recognize the phrases from the episode.
Do not worry about understanding every single word. Focus on the function: arriving, asking, ordering, checking, and paying.
Hello.
Do you have a table for two?
Yes, please follow me. Are you ready to order? Could I have the soup as a starter and the salmon as a main? Of course. Would you like anything to drink?
That short exchange already covers a lot. Table for two, ready to order, starter, main course, and drinks.
And the rhythm feels calm because each sentence has one job. That is the secret to speaking in restaurants without panic.
So, your takeaway is simple. Be polite, be clear, and use fixed phrases when your brain feels busy.
The next time you visit a restaurant in English, choose 2 or 3 phrases from this episode and actually use them.
And remember, you do not need to sound like a native speaker to be understood. You need calm, useful English.
Thanks for listening, and enjoy your next meal in English.